The train was nice. They love everything, so it was fun.
And you laughed because of.
Love. Right.
The list on here, because you have no time to act on it.
Right.
I am. Okay. Call the meeting to order. Roll call. Commissioner Barton. Present. Commissioner Phelps.
Present.
Commissioner Funes.
Present.
Attorney Lamanna.
Present.
Lieutenant Reddy is. Okay, we're all present. We have a quorum. Okay, there are no minutes at this time. So we'll just move right on to a number of one-day licenses. Okay, we have a one-day license at the Lynn Museum for a private function on March 5th from 6:30 to 10:30. Lucia Wine Shop and Tasting Room would like to have a one-day license at 776 Washington Street for a bingo and wine bar pop-up for Thursday, March 17th, St. Patrick's Day, 5 to 10 p.m. You want wine instead of your green beer?
High holiday, right, Peg?
Go there.
Huh?
A high holiday.
That's a high holiday, that's right.
I'm Irish on that day too.
All right, then we have a number of one-day licenses for the Lynn Museum and Historical Society. For Wednesday, March 30th, they're having a trivia event from 6:30 to 8:30. And again, on Wednesday, April 27th, they want to have a fundraiser, 125th anniversary celebration from 6 to 9 p.m. And lastly, the one day for the museum is May 25th. It's for the annual meeting from 6 to 8 p.m. Then we have a one-day license request from Old Time Italian Cuisine for the Friendly Nights for Tuesday, March 1st, today, from 5 to 10 p.m. And lastly, a one-day license for Building Audacity. It's a nonprofit at 75 Allen Avenue, and they would like to have a wine and paint night, a fundraiser for March 15th from 6 to 8 p.m. What is your, at the, I'm sorry, you're absolutely right. Yep, at the museum.
I'll make a motion that we do approve the one-day licenses and also for the nonprofits, we do not charge the.
Okay,
I'll second that.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, and then we have a change of manager for the Lynn Yacht Club at 8486 Linway for a change of manager to Joseph M. Holy. We'll hear from the Yacht Club? Okay, we'll put it off to the end of the meeting. See if they come. Okay, then we have a review for the new license application for the Banquet Event Center at 138 Boston Street. doing business as a global.
I'm Attorney Lamanna. I'm Attorney Vitale. I was going to say, Attorney Lamanna knows more about this case than I do. I was here like in the 1990s. This used to be a Chinese buffet at 138 Boston Street. When I represented it, I got a beer and wine, and then Jim called to my attention because I came late to the dance on this one.
Right.
Unfortunately, the last day he was alive, John Myhouse was working with Jim and Diana Chakoudas on this very case. And we involved a beer and wine, and it required a special permit from the city council. That's how Jim was involved and John was involved. And ultimately that got resolved, but obviously you can't get a liquor license unless you come to the local board. And so we submitted a license, and then there was some confusion about the restrictions on the license. And I can tell you, and I think Jim's familiar with, when the place opened, it has not sold liquor, and it has an application for a beer and wine. And Councilor Chakoudas was very concerned about the folks who lived at the stadium condominium. And an agreement was reached, actually by John Myhouse, before I was involved in this, and the city, with a series of restrictions. I then took the ball forward, went to the city council, and got, I think in December, the location approved. And the license application had been in, but it has to be here. Unfortunately, Michael, let me just tell you a little bit about Michael. Came to this country 12 years ago from Cameroon, moved to Lynn 11 years ago, opened up a business in Lynn. His kids go to St. Mary's. Spent, I don't know if you've been by this location, he spent a lot of money fixing it up. And the question is what, if any alcohol can be sold there and under what circumstances. And I've had conversations since then with the management of Stadium Condominium. Councilor Field has expressed an interest. But essentially it would be table service, beer and wine, no service without food. I mean, that's an encapsulation of, there are I think 11 or 12 conditions that the city council put on. Michael's father passed away in Cameroon. He went back there 2 weeks ago. And because of the COVID business, he can't get back in to the United States that quickly. And then the meeting got moved, I guess, I think it was going to be on the 15th, and you moved it to the 1st, so he's not here. So let me suggest this to you. I think you should see him, and he's a better spokesman for his worthiness than I am. But this has been like 2 years in the making, okay? And so my suggestion would be, if the application were in order, that you let Debbie proceed, and I'll bring Michael to the next meeting so you can meet him. He's going to be the manager of record, but this has been examined and re-examined by the law department, the city council, and I think Debbie's done great work with working with him to have him understand the process, which I think he now fully does understand. And there were some restrictions. I know, and I think it's correct that the DBA be what it is, because there was a concern about the use of the word banquet, I think. So it would be known as, and we'll make certain that the certificate is filed with the city clerk as a DBA to do business as Global Kitchen. But the restrictions that were put on that special permit would be, and I think the expectation is you would adopt those. And Jim and John drafted them essentially, and then the members of the Board of Trustees of the Stadium Condominium reviewed it, and in fact at the City Council, I credit, there were people from the Stadium Condominium who spoke in favor, provided that the stipulations were there. And so I would hope that it could move forward, but I would have no problem bringing Michael, the manager, when he gets back into the U.S. to a meeting of the license board so you could speak to him and see him.
So it's a restaurant?
Yes.
It's a restaurant.
Yes,
Yeah.
you're not renting it, there would be no rental hall. Right. No bar service at all.
Okay.
I believe we did meet with Mr. What is his last name?
Ninja.
did meet with him. It's been a while.
Mm.
Long while. So you feel like everything's in place?
Yes, everything's in place, and if the board would like to act today, if it feels comfortable acting today, I would just recommend adopting all of the stipulations on the special permit issued by the city council. Attorney Vitale indicated his client would be willing to adhere to.
I have no problem. Okay. I can entertain a motion that we
Okay.
can adopt.
So I'd like to make a motion to approve this based on all the stipulations placed by the Lynn City Council, that they be adhered to and added to this meeting minutes.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, then we have, okay, continued hearing for Eclipse Aaron Grove.
Very good, and
Anyone here from Eclipse Aaron Grove? Hey, sorry.
Good afternoon. Attorney John P. Connell from the firm of Upton, Connell, and Devlin for the licensee.
Okay, and who's with you today?
One of the owners, Joanna, and Hector, why don't you come over here? Sorry, the manager of record.
Okay.
Good, how are you? Sorry, I didn't even know he came in.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're here on a continued
Yeah, it's been a while.
hearing.
Yeah, it's been a long while. We need to just resolve this. Okay, so you are the manager
Yeah.
of record. Is there anybody else managing with you so that when you're not there, someone is in charge?
Yeah, him, the owners come and help me sometimes, and we switch shifts.
Will you identify, what's the gentleman's name? Yes.
Good afternoon. My name is Efrain Navarro. I'm a city host and influencer. Maybe you guys noticed that I came a couple times because I'm trying to get involved because I'm planning to buy. But I just want to know what's wrong, what's due, what's the rules, what we have to improve to be right on track. So that's why I'm trying to absorb and learn. And in the meantime, I'm helping because I want to see the business and see how everything. But I'm not part of it yet officially because I know that there's steps that we have to do, show you guys, and then go forward.
Where is the other owner of record?
Ferdy, yeah, he is in Guatemala.
Yes.
He was here, I think I think is our third or fourth hearing on this one particular matter. He was here for one of the previous ones, and I'm in communication with him if you need anything from him.
is he gonna be involved in the management and at the store to make sure that?
Well, as 50% owner, he's obviously involved in anything that,
I mean, visually.
day-to-day? Day-to-day management, you mean? No, he does not do the day-to-day management.
So who's doing the day-to-day management?
The manager of record, which is Hector.
And what-
Hector has,
Okay, and what are the hours of operation?
From 4:30 to 1, right now to 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock, how many days a week?
Every single day, but not Wednesday. Not Wednesday.
Every single month, not Wednesdays. Wednesdays. So you're gonna be there
Yeah, I mean,
4:30 to 1 o'clock, days a week. So you're in charge?
Yes.
At all times? Okay. I mean, we have got to get this resolved today. It's been going on way too long. Because it was our understanding that Ms. Roy would not have any involvement in the day-to-day operation. That's the reason why they still have it. If it had been up to us at the time, without the good faith negotiations that took place with the prior attorney and the other owner. The Eclipse Lounge will not be open. But it's open because they have a manager on duty during their operating hours. The only way I can see to resolve this is that weekly, they submit to this board his hours, what his hours are going to be. If he's not going to be there during the opening hours, then they shouldn't be open.
Opening hours?
Yes. If they're gonna be open from
Oh.
4:30 to 1,
You want at the end of each week for them to submit the hours that he worked for the prior week?
no. For the next,
For the next week?
yes.
Can you provide her with your schedule?
Yeah, Joanna, yeah, we'll be able to make it.
I guess I can work with Ms. Ginnivan
Yep.
and provide, you're gonna have to pay for it, provide Ms. Ginnivan with a weekly schedule of Hector when he's intending to be there.
Yep.
Right?
Because if there are any more incidents at the Eclipse, because I find it amazing that since September, since this all started, and they've been under scrutiny of people watching what's going on there, there've been no problems. You've been there.
Yeah,
I know. I know. There's management going on now. And in order to ensure that it continues, we need to have your hours ahead of
Right.
time. And if we don't have them, then, as far as I'm concerned, that would be a violation of our rules and regulations. And this is your last chance. We would be looking to revoke this license.
All right.
Yes.
If I may, just for the purposes of the record, we did review some body cameras of responding officers, and it was very clear that Ms. Rua was, from an officer standpoint, she had a position of authority, and she was the one that the officers that evening were dealing with to gather the video evidence. There did not appear to be any other managers on site that evening, and this is really the largest discipline that the Eclipse has faced is because Ms. Rua was a manager that was not approved by this board. So it was certainly something that was very serious to the License Commission, that it did not appear that the licensed manager was on duty that night. At least through the body cam videos, it was Ms. Rua that was having all the interaction. That's why it's very important, if you can't be there, to identify someone else, because if in the future there's a police involvement, may have nothing to do with it might be something that happened outside, and there's no manager there, and it's just Ms. Rua, then this would be a violation of what the chairperson is putting forth as a possible resolution to satisfy the board that a approved manager is on site at all times that this place is open, in the event that an incident like what happened back in September occurs.
Yeah.
Hector, do you have any experience managing?
Well, this is the first time I work like completely, like full-time on it. So, I just ask them questions so they can guide me, like, hey, how can I do this? Because, like, they have more time of me doing that. So, it's a back and forth,
Do you have a copy of the rules and regulations?
Yes, I do.
You have a hard
Yes,
copy?
I did the
Okay.
tip certification and
Okay.
everything.
Yep.
And you are aware that the windows have to be clear?
Yes.
To make sure that, because I went by a couple of times and the shades were down. Make sure that visibility is.
Yeah, you have blinds, so you have to
Yeah.
open the blind. Yeah. I don't, any other feelings?
No,
You okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay, then I'll entertain a motion that we,
You make the motion that we give the license back, the permit to operate under the circumstances that we have created, and the rules and regulations are kept up to date. And you do report a schedule to this organization, to Debbie, without any other, I would say that, just want to wish you good luck, and hopefully everything goes well.
Right. Thank you.
I'll second that.
you all right?
Yep,
All in favor?
aye.
Thank you.
Right.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Okay, and then we have a number of police reports here. Did everyone have a chance to go through the police reports?
I went through one or two, not the whole thing, because there's a lot of them.
Want to take a few minutes and read through the police reports? I found two that I thought were very, we need to bring, we should bring in. Okay, the first one here was Lashingada, and that's a typo. It's now S-H-I-N. It's an S instead of a C.
On the agenda, it's not a typo, but.
No, on the police report.
It's the bad word.
It is a bad word.
Okay, so
It
they
is?
It is go to hell.
they changed it to an S, okay? That makes it good?
I don't know.
I don't know. Okay.
Yes?
Hey. There seems to be a few issues going on here about problems in the bar and they're not being reported. And then lack of cooperation when the police come, and it seems to be that there appears to be drinking by the employees while they're on duty, helping to exacerbate some of the problems within the organization. So I think we should definitely bring them in for a hearing.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the next one was, 47, the Linway, that was the, a woman who had been in the parking lot of the Park Bar, and the gentleman came, tapped on a window, and then proceeded to follow her out of the parking lot and down the Linway, and she eventually made her way to the police station and reported that she had his license plate number and whatnot, and they found out that it was registered to this person in Revere, and they were going to follow up on it. So that's just more like an FYI, that problem. And then assault and battery at the Euphoria nightclub. Oh, a number of them. Crusoe's Pizza called and reported an unwanted guest who claimed he had come from Euphoria, and he appeared to be intoxicated, and he was bruised up, and he claimed he had been assaulted at the Euphoria, and when the police went to investigate it, they discovered that he had been refused admittance into the Euphoria because he was intoxicated. And they're still investigating this, so there was nothing further to report at this time. And it seemed like Euphoria, they did call they offered to let the police look at the surveillance so that they could see that it was a case of this gentleman trying to get into their club and not them kicking him out or assaulting him. So they're still investigating, so. Looks like Euphoria was cooperative, so. And then we have a fight at the Las Vegas bar, which was reported by the owner. And she said the fight started outside of the bar. She claimed she was the bouncer, and she broke up the fight before the police got there, and everything seemed to be under control when they, everything was under control by the time the police had gotten there. And she even kept the people inside the bar, wouldn't let them leave so that they didn't add to the confusion, so. She had it under control, and she called the police, so she did the right thing. And then, Conga Lounge, okay. Two parties involved in a, altercation, which, it got really bad outside when they were leaving. And they were intoxicated. One was clearly underage, and they eventually had to be placed in protective custody because they were so out of control. So I definitely think we need to bring them in for a hearing. Absolute Conga, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Yep. Okay, and those are our police reports.
Thank you.
Papers I gave each of you from the ABCC are regarding an application that was submitted early. And that hearing is a virtual hearing. And that would be in May.
May 4th.
Yeah.
Should we be here for it? The hearing?
Well, we'll see what happens. This Friday is the applications for the liquor licenses. I expect that this will be one of the applicants, but as Jennifer indicated, they filed 1 day prior to the ABCC notifying the city of Lynn via email
Yeah.
that we had gained 4 new licenses, 3 wine and malt and 1 all alcohol. Up until that point, the city has received dozens of requests over the years, and we're told that we cannot accept an application because we're at our limit. So,
Right.
ironically, if they had waited 24 hours, that would have started the shot clock ticking. But as we get closer, I think having someone from the license board testify virtually, and Ms. Ginnivan past practice with regards to referring that we're at our quota, do not bother submitting an application. As part of the license application that being opened by the purchasing department for March 3rd, so I think that's actually Thursday. We're going to be having applications, and I said I expect that they'll be one of the selected, one of the submittals. Ginnivan also, anyone that was on the waiting list was also over the years was also notified that our quota has increased. They may or may not put a bid in depending on whether they have a location or they're still interested in a package store of some type in the city of Lynn. That was the way the license commission wanted to go rather than luck of the draw. First one that pulled the trigger, and this trigger was pulled 24 hours, one day too soon. The city couldn't even accept this application when it was filed.
I would just love to know how they knew we were getting the license before we knew we were getting the license. I mean, that's just,
They actually filed it on October 27th, on Friday after 12 o'clock, after the hours of City Hall. The notice we received from the ABCC was submitted on October 29th.
they knew before we did,
So,
doesn't make sense.
And it would not be surprising to me that they looked at census numbers across the state and looked for cities that saw an increase and found clients that would be looking and try to jump over the wait list line and jump over and be the first one in line.
I believe the first one that I saw from the ABCC, there was another city that he was doing the same thing to.
I thought it was Malden, something similar.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's the same gentleman?
On quota, yeah.
So the leak could have been from the main office in Boston, if there are any connections.
could have been an educated guess. We did go up 10,000 people, thanks to the good work of the city clerk's office.
Their
conducting
campaign.
And a very difficult time to conduct a census during COVID, to get over the 100,000 mark. I think everyone here believed that we're probably over 100,000 for the last 10 years.
Right.
We're officially over the 100,000, so I think we have a much more accurate count for all purposes, but especially ABCC quota counts. So when you see it from 91 to over 100, it was a pretty good guess to jump the gun that Lynn would be one of the cities that in some way. And again, we only got three. We got 3 wine and malt and only 1 all alcohol. So they probably recognize the importance of jumping the gun if they can, because it was only 1 for a full license. And this was, and there's no question it wasn't crossed over in the mail, because this was sent to Ms. Ginnivan via email, our official notification that we now had an opening.
Well, I had called him on Monday when I got the packet and said, we don't have any liquor licenses available, and he said, yes, you do. I said, okay. And I said, well, I haven't been notified, so let me check my email and I'll get back to you. And sure enough, that day, it was there.
But it's not a first come, first serve anyway, is it?
No,
No.
shouldn't be.
So,
And how many people do we have on the waiting list?
I had 15. And I called them all, or I sent them a letter, or I emailed them that these were available, it was gonna be in the paper, and a couple of them I sent them the ad. So, it's up to them to file the packet and get it to us. A lot of them didn't understand it, but I told them I advised all of them to see a lawyer.
Mm.
Yeah. Now, I have about 8 packets that we have approved, but they're sitting there from the ABCC because there's stuff missing. And lawyers aren't getting back to me, or, they can't get in touch with their client, and, so they're just stacked up. I tried to go through and call each one today and do it, but one of them is Dan Caters. That they need to get this paperwork in so I can, resubmit it to the ABCC for reconsideration. So if the packets don't come complete, then I'm not a lawyer, so
Do they have it-
lawyers need to take care of it.
Do they have a deadline that they have to submit it by?
No, the ABCC is pretty lenient about deadlines for getting the paperwork back to them, but some of the investigators will say, too much time's gone by, they'll have to resubmit a whole new packet. And where I have so many of them right now.
So the application that we received on October 28th, or 30, they will have to reapply again.
I have to send them via email now. I have to scan them and send it right to their board, and they get them right off.
So when do we approve or disapprove?
Whenever we approve a license.
Then we
once
can
it's
send it to
approved,
ABCC?
Then tomorrow I will scan that application for Boston Street, and then I will go on to the ABCC website, and there's a bunch of steps that you have to do and fill in, and attach the application to it and send it off. Right if it gets downloaded properly, at the end, they give you a number. So,
But
There's
those,
no mailing of paperwork, no.
so when they come in to ask you questions, they're gonna refer to that number instead of the,
Well, I don't think I would give that number out to the public, but I would give it to their lawyers to check on that. I think there will be an area in the portal that they can go in and check on it. But I haven't seen any information on that yet. But I'm sure that's coming. The other thing is, starting March 15th, I am going to be emailing the packets. We're gonna try to save some paper.
You mean trees?
trees.
Trees, paper,
Trees,
There's hardly any left.
really?
all right? So watch for your packets. You know, I probably will be able to do those right after I do the agenda, so it'll be a lot quicker. I hope. So what I'll do is I'll scan it and then I'll email it to each one of you. Okay?
Great.
Any objections?
No. But if I go to print it and say I just want just the agenda, that should be no problem?
I can send the agenda separate.
Okay, yeah, because I know a lot of times with my printer, if I go to print one page, forget I get that, I get everything. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, it's a pain in the neck.
Now,
So
do,
I'll send you the agenda and then I'll go on and send them.
Okay.
All right?
are we able to get internet in here too? Without any issue? Because we could have it on the iPhone and
Yeah, I'm actually looking at my, there's internet.
read it right from there,
So,
right?
Awesome.
everybody good with that?
Yeah, we'll try it.
Okay.
We'll try it.
My new retirement date is May 2nd.
2030? I'm sorry, I
Very
couldn't.
funny. 2022. So, but I probably will stay on the liquor license board if I can till the end of the year.
Just for the Christmas party.
So this is just the time.
Wait a minute, that we might not have until July of 1888.
All right,
We'll be looping. Okay, any other business?
New business?
New business, just that the applications are due March 3rd for the ABCC, but you already mentioned that. I didn't want to tell it again.
Can I mention something on the new business?
Okay, yes,
If
you
it's
can.
possible, it can be approved. For us to send the businesses, again, a letter stating that they need to purchase their liquor from the company, not from the corner store or anything like that. I know we had a few issues in the past, but it'd be nice to remind them, just in case they be aware that they can't just go to the corner store.
for an approved distributor.
Yes.
Right.
I can get that list from the ABCC and attach it to the letter.
And,
A reminder.
yeah. just a reminder. I mean, there's a lot of new licenses, new people with licenses, new manager, and they think that they're running out of something. And
They can go to the corner store.
Yeah, I gotta negotiate for some money so I can do reprint rules and regulations. Working on the budget.
I was gonna say, isn't there any way that some of these fees that we collect, supposedly we collect, can say 2% of it come to,
yeah, it should be.
have it used as operating expenses for the? Jim?
It can, a revolving account could be created.
Well, there gotta be a loophole that we can go into it and create an account.
I will speak with the councilors about that.
Thank you.
Rain fund and rainy fund.
Are we meeting the third Tuesday in March?
Yes,
That's the 15th, yeah.
I'm hoping to be back in creation.
It may be just a thought about inviting the bidders here for some type of presentation. If they're not invited for the March meeting, then would be April, so.
Okay.
This worked out, this meeting got kicked off till March 1st, and the bids are open March 3rd. So the March 8th, 15, 20, 22nd meeting, we'll have all the bidders Thursday, and we'll send, the purchasing department will send it to everyone who bid, how many people bid. But
Okay.
if they're not invited for the March meeting, then it would be naturally to be the April meeting for some type of
Because
evaluation.
we probably won't see who's applied until the March meeting anyways, right?
You'll know Thursday.
We'll
You'll
know.
send it by email.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
I'll send you a list.
all right.
Our meeting is March 15th.
15th, yeah. And then the next one wouldn't be till April, third week
It'll
again.
be April 19th.
Yeah.
They've waited this long, right?
Okay. All right. Sounds like a plan. Anything else? Meeting adjourned.
Expired, make sure it's being stored in sanitary conditions. I'm not 100% sure how